Today we will take a look at the best cable modems in 2021 for Arris Surfboard SB6183. The Arris SB6183 is a small, simple cable modem capable of keeping you and your devices connected to the internet at fast speeds. It's a DOCSIS 3.0 cable modem with 16x4 channels for max speeds up to 686 megabits per second downstream and 131 megabits per second upstream. That translates to plenty of bandwidth for streaming, gaming and more on multiple devices. We tested cable modems on Comcast Xfinity's 400 megabits per second internet package, the fastest plan available in our area. We integrated the SB6183 into our network and connected 5 devices, one laptop monitoring the network, one laptop streaming Netflix in 4K and an Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and gaming PC, all downloading large game files. All the modems we tested are rated for throughput above the 400 megabits per second connection we tested with, and all easily passed our test. Any of these modems work for most households, but if you subscribe to an internet plan that advertises speeds of 300 megabits per second or higher, consider one of the 24x8 channel modems like the Motorola MB7420 instead. More channels don't hurt your network, and it leaves room for upgrades later. Because the products we tested performed identically in our tests, the main differentiating factors affecting product ranking are oriented toward value and ease of use. On the value front, the SB8163 does well, as its price is lower than the cost to rent a modem from your ISP for a year. It adds value on top of that with its 2-year warranty, which ensures your device works long enough to save you over $100 compared to renting. For ease of use, the SB8163 fares a little worse in comparison, as other products had small features and accessories that make the setup and troubleshooting processes a little more streamlined. Still, the SB8163 is simple to set up, with 3 obvious ports on the back panel for power, coaxial connection and Ethernet. One minor complaint about the port setup is that the coax and power connections are very close together, close enough to make it noticeably inconvenient to access either with the other present. We mention this because the SB8163 doesn't have a power button, and the only way to turn the modem off and on again is by unplugging it and plugging it back in. 3. Netgear CM600. The Netgear CM600 is a high-speed cable modem capable of handling streaming, gaming and multiple devices without a hitch. It uses channel bonding technology in its 24 downstream and 8 upstream channels for faster, more efficient data transfers. In our testing, the CM600 displayed its proficiency by easily managing 5 devices simultaneously connected at top speeds on Xfinity's 400 megabits per second speed plan. The CM600 ranks above most other products partially due to its higher max speeds than many of the other modems and partially because of its universal compatibility. Though all the products are compatible with Spectrum, Cox and Comcast, the CM600 was one of 3 that appeared on all 6 of the ISP compatibility lists we researched. Of those 3 modems, it is the only one with 24x8 channels, so it's the best option for high-speed internet packages, especially if you subscribe to speeds exceeding 300 megabits per second. The CM600 looks interesting with its beveled body and triangular ventilation cutouts. The front left bevel holds the status LED panel, displaying 5 illuminated icons. This is inconvenient for monitoring the network, as the panel doesn't face straight. It's on a diagonal, so the display faces left, which is something to consider when placing the device. The back panel features a gigabit Ethernet port, reset button, coaxial connection, power input and an on/off button. This last feature is something we particularly looked for, as it's a convenience that is often looked over by manufacturers. Cable modems are, for the most part, plug-and-play devices that don't need to be messed with much unless something goes wrong. If something does go wrong, however, you want the troubleshooting process to go as smoothly as possible. Without a power button, you need to manually unplug and re-plug in your modem to turn it off and on. A frustrating process, especially if your networking setup isn't well organized. The modem's online interface is also frustration-free as it helps you adjust settings and view modem information. Netgear's user interface is easy to access and use with a good balance of basic and advanced options. 2. Netgear CM500. The Netgear CM500 is a great cable modem that performs as well as other, more expensive products. The Netgear CM500 performed extremely well on a network stressed by running 4 simultaneous bandwidth hogging applications, including 3 large game file downloads on a PC, Xbox One and PS4 Pro and 4K Netflix streaming. Though it's recommended for internet packages advertising speeds of 300 megabits per second or lower, we ran our tests using Comcast Xfinity's 400 megabits per second speed package, and it performed admirably. If you need a high-speed modem, we recommend the Motorola MB7620 instead. It's a little more powerful and can handle higher speeds. The CM500 is a sleek, slender device. Its slim profile looks right at home among your other expensive networking equipment. There are 2 disadvantages to its design, however. The more pressing of the two is that the CM500 is not as well ventilated as some other modems we tested, so it operates at a higher temperature. This can pose a problem if the modem is placed around too many other heat-generating devices or doesn't have enough room to cool off, as overheating can affect the modem's operational ability. The second issue is purely cosmetic. Since the exterior of the modem is made of shiny black plastic, it picks up smudges and shows dirt and dust easily. 1. Motorola MB7420. The tiny Motorola MB7420 is the best compact modem. It's a 16x4 DOCSIS 3.0 cable modem recommended for internet service speeds up to 300 megabits per second, but it kept up with our 4 simultaneous tests on Comcast Xfinity's 400 megabits per second speed plan, which was performing above 400 megabits per second during most of our testing. If you're subscribed to internet speeds above 300 megabits per second, a cable modem with more channels like the Motorola MB7620 might be a better fit for your network. The MB7420 has maximum speeds of up to 686 megabits per second downstream and 123 megabits per second upstream, but modems rarely operate at max capacity, so it's best to have plenty of room to make sure you get the speeds you pay for. The Motorola MB7420 has the advantage of being generally convenient and easy to use. While most modems are simple, set-it-and-forget-it kind of devices, the MB7420 has a few practical touches that make it a bit more user-friendly than average. The back panel of the modem is color-coded, and each port is clearly labeled to prevent you from getting your wires crossed. These ports include a power input, coaxial connection and gigabit Ethernet port. The back also houses the power and reset buttons, which can both be extremely useful. Only about a third of the modems we tested included a power button, which isn't necessary for normal use, but it can spare you some trouble if anything goes wrong with your setup. The coaxial and Ethernet ports are placed near the bottom of the back panel, which works well because the MB7420 is pretty light and this arrangement prevents it from being top-heavy and too easy to knock over. The modem needs to stand vertically with room around its ventilated side panels to prevent it from overheating. Included in the box are a few small accessories to help streamline the modem's physical installation. There's a yellow Ethernet cable, a small wrench for tightening the coaxial connection and a cord strap for keeping things organized.